Hello and good evening. Hi, how are you? Hope you are well. Welcome to the Free2Prayz Solutions Incorporated Facebook page. Because if you're seeing me, that means you're watching from our page. And we are here tonight to have a conversation. It is our live conversation. And tonight's topic we're kicking off is So You Think You Want to Be a Leader? This is a great subject to talk about. I'm excited to share it with you. For those of you who do not know, my name is LaShonda Briggs, and I am honored and privileged to be one of the directors on the board of directors for Free2Prayz Solutions Incorporated. And my role and assignment there is to be the director of professional development. And so, for those of you who did not know, November is Professional Development Month. And so, in conjunction with us celebrating Professional Development Month, we've had a series of conversations that hopefully you've been able to join me on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. or you're here tonight for our live convo in reference to So You Think. And it's a So You Think series. So, not only will we be here live tonight, but we'll be here in 2 weeks from now on Thursday to have another conversation about So You Think. And next time we join for our live conversation on Thursday, it'll be So You Think You're in Shape. And it should be really good. So I'm excited that you're here. Hello and good evening to everyone that's coming into the room. Tonight's session won't be too long, but I do have some helpful information that I'd like to share with you. I just want to admonish you as well that if you are not already following the Free2Prayz Solutions Incorporated page, please do so. Follow this page, and share it with a friend. We are a nonprofit, faith-based organization that is focused on providing uncommon solutions to those in the community, and that could be anywhere from a youth to a senior citizen, or from a church or small business. It doesn't matter. We have so many services to offer that cover a myriad of things that you could possibly think of: mental health counseling, mentorship for our youth. We have advocacy for our seniors under Sue's Safe Haven. We have the Healing Place, which is our space for healing and protection in the process of healing through your journey of grief and loss. We also have administrative support services. So please find us on social media. Look out for us. We're excited to be serving. We have opportunities to do outreach coming up in the next few months for not just Thanksgiving, but also for the Christmas season. So I'll have some information listed for you at the end, so that way you can take a look at what we have to offer. But I'm so excited that you're here with me. So it's 7:03. Let's go ahead and get started. Tonight's conversation, as I stated, we're talking about So You Think. So you think you want to be a leader. And I feel like I'll just tell you, leadership is something that I'm passionate about. It's one of my gifts. I have not been able to successfully avoid opportunities to show up as a leader in different spaces, even when I'm not looking for it. The opportunity presents itself, and so you may find yourself in that space where leadership comes naturally to you, or you may find yourself in a space where you may have a desire for leadership, but it doesn't come as natural. It doesn't mean that you are not capable of being a good leader. And so we're going to talk about leadership tonight. Do me a favor, if you're in the room, just do me a quick favor. Why don't you share this live with someone? I'm going to do that. I usually do that on my other platform, but I want to make sure that I share it with a few folk. Okay, so um, let's get back into it. All right. So we're going to be talking about So You Think You Want to Be a Leader. And like I said, leadership is something that I have a passion for. And I just have a passion for people and the development of people. And so tonight, we're going to talk about some of the things that you should be aware of if you're thinking about or considering leadership. We're going to talk about some do's and don'ts as well. And so hopefully the conversation will prove to be fruitful and beneficial to you. All right. So there's something I want to share with you really quickly. Um, there's two things that every leader has, right? And if you think you know what those two things are, drop them in the comments. If you think you know what the two things are, drop them in the comments. There's two things that every leader has, right? And I heard, this is not an original thought. I did hear it from somewhere else. Unfortunately, I don't remember the name of the person who I saw it from. But there's two things that every leader has. They both start with the letter I. That is impact and influence. Yeah. I would venture to say that not just every leader has this, but every individual. I believe that we all have the capacity to impact someone, something, and we also have the ability to influence someone or something. Now, the nature or the capacity of impact and influence is based on the type of person that you are. But you may think, oh well, I don't really have impact or I don't have influence. Well, your presence has impact and influence. How you carry yourself, how you engage with people, how you communicate. If you send a text message in all caps to someone, there's some impact behind your message, right? And you don't have to be a leader. If you're typing up an email and it is a little coarse for the taking, and if you send that email, your communication now gives off a certain level of impact, and you influence people. You influence people on decisions that they make, or you influence on decisions that they make about who you are, right? And so when you are thinking about being a leader, there's a capacity that you have influence and impact, and you can have good or bad. Either one of those. You can have a good impact or you can have a negative impact. You can influence those for good or you can influence those for bad. A startling statistic that I came across, and it may not be new news to you, but I'll share it in this platform, is that there's a number that's represented of employees who decide to leave their jobs because of what reasons? Is it because of the pay? Is it because of the environment? Is it because of the manager? Is it because of the hours? 57% of employees will choose to leave their job, their job which provides security to help them take care of their responsibilities, take care of their families. When people get to their breaking point, 57% of employees will leave a job because of their manager, because of the leadership or the lack thereof. And so knowing that over half of the people who decide to leave their job is because of a leader, it startles me sometimes that people still want to be a leader, right? But if you're considering it, if you want to be a leader, then this is the place where we have the conversation, okay? There are some things, I'm going to give them to you really quickly, that you should consider. I tend to like to use acronyms because they're easy to remember. And so I'm an 80s baby. And so we're going to talk about the acronym MTV. Okay? I know it's catchy a little bit, but here's what we're going to talk about. The M stands for motivation, the T stands for time, and V stands for vision, right? MTV. That's what we're talking about right now. So when you are thinking about being a leader, you should look at these three things: motivation, time, vision. So let's break it down a little bit. Motivation for being a leader is simply the why you want to do it. What's causing you this desire to want to be in a place or position of leadership? What's motivating you to do that? The reason why I stress knowing the why of what you're in it for and why you're in leadership is because when things get absolutely challenging, and they will, when change happens and it's uncomfortable, and that will happen, when failure happens, because that will also happen, you have to be absolutely certain of your motivation. What are you in it for? Why are you showing up? Why are you choosing to leave your home, leave your family, possibly miss events, things that are important to you and your family? Why are you choosing to spend upwards of 40, 60, sometimes 80 hours a week to show up every day? Is it for your paycheck? It could be possible. Some people are motivated by money. And so if that's why you want to be a leader, I would suggest that you revisit that, just for the sake of money isn't everything. It's good, it's necessary, and it can be a solid motivator. But it may be possible that if money is your motivation for leadership, then possibly you should consider another role outside of leading people. Maybe leading a project that requires more responsibility or more, more tasks that will put you in a position to make more money. But certainly, leadership and the desire for leadership, personally speaking, is not motivated by money, because you could go make a whole lot of money somewhere else and not have to deal with the stress that comes along with being a leader, right? So your motivation, you have to be solid for that. And I can't tell you what your motivation is. And other people can't tell you what your motivation is for being a leader, but you should know. You should know your why. And your why is what's going to keep you focused as you're going through your journey of leadership and leadership development. Okay, so that's motivation. M. Second thing is time. When you are considering to be a leader, you have to understand that there is a certain level of commitment of your time that's required for you to be successful. Now, there are plenty of people in leadership positions with titles and what have you that are not investing the time that is required to be a good leader. And what we see is a result that reflects the lack of investment of the time. Now, when I say time, I'm not saying as a leader you should forsake work-life balance, because I believe that it is very important that you approach anything that you do in your career from a perspective of balance, right? What's feasible? What's attainable? What can you do that is equally balanced so you're not sacrificing one for the other, right? But you have to understand that there's going to be a requirement of time that you're going to have to invest, because wherever you invest your time, that's where you're going to see an outcome, right? If you invest your time in yourself to become a better leader, to get training and development that helps you to coach effectively, to set goals that are smart, to invest and develop your team, then you will see results based on where you place your time, right? And it's a struggle as a leader, especially in corporate spaces, sometimes because your time is so stretched thin, it seems like you're pulled everywhere. But if you devote most of your time to being in meetings and not actually having face time with your employees, it could create a disconnect, right? It could create opportunities for miscommunication or mixed messages, simply because you're not really investing the time where it's important. And sometimes we have meetings about meetings, and that's not necessarily a good investment of your time. So if you're considering to be a leader, the first thing you have to know is your motivation. The second thing you should consider is the time that will be necessary as you are approaching leadership. Once you're in leadership and to continue becoming or being a good leader, it's going to require an investment of your time. The third and final thing I want to share with you in reference to this acronym of MTV is not only do you need to have awareness of your motivation or your why, the time that it will require from you, but you have to have vision. If you are a person in a position of leadership and you have people who are looking to you, it is so difficult for people to follow where they cannot see where they're going. As a leader, you have to be able to see beyond what's currently present, right? In corporate spaces, if there are objectives and goals that you have that has been set from C-level leadership, you have to have vision to see how you're going to get your team or whoever you're responsible for to that point or to that goal. If you don't have vision, you're going to have a very hard time convincing and showing people how to do it, or how to get there. Even if you are in an environment where morale may be a challenge or employee engagement may be a challenge, or you're brand new to the space of being even in leadership, you have to be able to identify where are you taking your people, where are you taking your business. And if you lack vision, then you're going to struggle with getting people to follow you. You, as a leader, you have to set the vision. You have to set the course. You have to identify for individuals where it is that you're setting their attention to, their focus to, and how you're going to get them there. That's a part of the process of being a good leader, right? So we talked about MTV, motivation, time, and vision. If you think you want to be a leader, you should know those three things, right? You should know why you want to be a leader. You should be prepared to invest the time to be a good leader, and you must come to the table with a vision, foresight, some type of insight, because you're not always going to get a team that is high performing. You're not always going to get goals that are easily attainable. You're going to have to be able to see the fact that you may not currently, in present day, have a team that's able to deliver what's being asked of them. But as a good leader who's willing to be invested, who's willing to put the time in to the process, you'll be able to get your team where they need to go by having a vision for where you're going. You got to know where you're going. All right. So we talked about motivation, we talked about time, and we talked about vision. Those are at least three things, and there's so many other things that you should and can consider when you are looking to be a leader. But I want to wrap with this. These are our leadership do's and don'ts. Okay? Leadership do's and don'ts. And this will be posted on the Free2Prayz page after the session. Leadership do's and don'ts. Okay? As a leader, here's one of the first things that you must do. Lead by example. Lead by example. A good leader does not set out for someone to do something that they are not willing to demonstrate or do themselves. People will not believe you. People will not believe in you if you are not willing to show up and execute in the way that you expect them to operate. And oftentimes people just need to see it. They need to see that it can be done. There's so many times previously in my leadership experience when I worked for a wireless company in the call center that we had these goals that were stretch goals and no one had ever met them before. But one of the things that the team, they were committed to doing it because they wanted to do well, but they didn't know how to do it. And so what did I do? I decided to get out on the floor and put a headset on and show them how to demonstrate a particular objective or behavior and to show them that was doable. If there was a sales goal that we had to meet, I got out on the floor and showed them how to do it because I could not ask of my team to do something that I wasn't willing to do myself, right? And so as a good leader, a true leader will lead by example, and you will use your influence and your impact to demonstrate what people should be doing and to demonstrate that what you're asking is not above you, right? Because people are willing to follow you when they know that you can lead by example. All right? A don't for leadership. Don't expect to be served. Personally, the whole premise of being a leader is to show up and to serve others. So if you do not have a servant's mentality, which means you're willing to show up, you're willing to do what's necessary for the sake of someone else, especially if you are a people leader. I think a lot of people get in a position of leadership and they take the title a little too seriously. Yes, you may be a leader, but you're not a leader if no one's following you. You're just taking a walk. And so you have to be able to know that when you show up as a leader, it's not about who's working for you, it's who you get to work for. And that's how I looked at leadership, is that every day that I showed up, even on the days when I didn't want to, I showed up because I knew my why, and I knew that there were people who were counting on me to show up for them because I was working for them, right? As a leader, when you have people who are reporting to you and they have to deliver results, get outcomes, if you are not invested in them, it's going to be a hard journey to get them to do what you ask them to do or need them to do. If you're not invested and you're not showing up and you have this, people need to do for me, make my load lighter, you delegate everything and you don't own anything, that's a don't. Because whether you know it or not, employees are intelligent. They're smart and they can read behaviors, right? They'll be able to identify, oh, wait a minute. They're asking me to do something that they're not doing themselves. And they're trying to offload on me what they don't want to do. You can't expect to be served as a leader. You have to show up and be willing to serve others, okay? Another leadership do Use your voice. When you are in a position of leadership, I already said that you have influence and impact. And one of the things that you should be doing is using your voice to advocate for what's needed, especially when you have a team that you are supporting. There's always going to be some type of challenge or obstacle or something that's happening, but you should be able to feel confident in your abilities to use your voice to advocate for your team, for your people, for the project that you're leading. Because if you don't speak up, who will, right? Sometimes C-level leadership, upper level leadership, they don't know that there's a problem because no one's saying anything, right? And if you speak up, be prepared to come with a solution, but certainly use your voice to advocate for what's necessary to get the job done. As a leader, you should be looking for ways to remove the obstacles out of your employees' ways, not to create more obstacles. Not only should you use your voice to advocate, but you have to be an effective communicator, right? I mean, some things rise and fall on the basis of how you say it. In coaching sessions, in presentations, via email, face-to-face conversations with your leadership, or with partners, sponsors, clients, customers. Literally, communication can make or break a relationship. And so you have to be mindful of that. And if you need help in that area, seek the support, seek the help, get the feedback, ask for it, improve, because no one's going to place credibility on your voice if you've shown that you mishandle your leverage, if you mishandle your influence, if you mishandle your impact. It's going to be hard to use your voice to advocate, because it's like the boy who cried wolf, right? It's of no effect. So be mindful of how you communicate and the ways you do so via email or face to face, or in any setting, because it's important that you are aware of that, and remember that those things, when you say something, it's released. When you send something via email, it's out there. You could try to recall it, and sometimes the recall will work and sometimes it doesn't. Either way, once you release it, it's out there. And so that becomes a part of your image and your brand as a leader. All right. And then the last don't. Don't take it personal. Yes. Now you're like, oh, what? I'm a person. I have feelings. Yes, you do. You are a person. You have feelings. You're also a leader. And one of the things that I feel happens so often is in spaces where things have happened, no matter what it may be, leaders will tend to take things personally. Now, I'm not saying you can't feel how you want to feel, but taking it personally means that you now react off of your emotion versus being rational or logically thinking it through, or consulting with the mentor, or consulting with your boss about how you should respond, or your course of action. And instead you take it personal, and as a result of you taking it personal, you now take it out on the people who are looking to you for leadership, and they might not have been the people to do it to you. And even if they were the people, the team didn't perform well, and it caused you to be under the gun, or you had now added stress or added pressure on your plate because of something, a mistake or what have you. No matter what it is, you have to keep your composure, especially in the workplace. You have to keep your composure. No one should know how you feel in a way that is a negative reflection, because people can perceive and interpret in any myriad of ways. So when things happen, because they will, please don't take it personal, right? And I think that's something that we as leaders will tell our employees. And we try to tell them to separate their personal lives from the work, right? So like leave your attitude, or leave it at the door. Well, the truth is, it's hard to do that, right? Because you are an individual and you're showing up. And as a leader, you have a unique position to acknowledge, right, that people have lives and they have things going on. You can't separate those things. So you have to provide additional support. You have to be there with a listening ear, actively listening, or listening for an opportunity to provide support or a solution of some kind. And that's what's expected of you. And as a leader, you should also have that support system where if something goes wrong, don't take it personally and take it out on your team, right? Identify why you feel the way you feel, express it to a trusted source, a mentor or a close friend, and then move accordingly. to do what you have to do to change the outcome of the scenario. Okay? So those are just some. These aren't all the do's and don'ts of leadership. There's no way I could cover everything. But I wanted to touch base on those so that way you would be aware of what you should look for. All right? So just by way of a quick recap, I'm just going to do a quick recap. We talked about 3 acronyms. Anybody know what they are? Drop in the chat. If you know what they are, drop in the chat. Let's see if you recall what they are. No? If you don't, it's fine. The first acronym was M for motivation. You should know your why. T for time. Be prepared to invest time into your journey, no matter what that is, right? And V, vision. You have to have vision. You have to know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, you're going to have a hard time taking somebody there with you. You have to set a course and a vision for what you want your people to see, where you want to take them, because if there's no vision, biblically speaking, the people perish, right? If there's no vision, if you didn't write it down, if you didn't make it plain, people don't know what to expect, they don't know how to perform. So as a leader, you have to have vision. And then we talked about some leadership do's and don'ts. Yes, those do's and don'ts. Please lead by example. Use your voice, your influence, and your impact. And please don't expect to be served. Don't expect to be served in no capacity. And I'm not talking about just leadership from a perspective of if you are, in corporate, because you may be in corporate or you may not, in church, in other organizations. Don't expect to be served when you're a leader, because that's just not really what happens. You have to be in a posture to be willing to serve others. Don't take it personal. Don't expect to be served. Don't take it personal. Please use your voice, and please lead by example. All right? So I hope that has been helpful for you tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to just share with you some information on our organization. Once again, this was brought to you by way of Free2Prayz Solutions Inc. We are a nonprofit faith-based organization where we provide uncommon solutions to the community at large. If you would like to, listed below or on the screen are ways that you can donate and support this organization. The solutions that we provide, we do not charge for those, but we do accept donations and support from the community to help with things like caring for the homeless or outreach opportunities to help with those who are struggling with just the basic necessities of housing and utility needs, or and we provide so much more. So please check out our social media pages. If you need to get in contact with us, the information is listed below as well. It's certainly been my privilege and my pleasure to share with you tonight. I definitely hope to see you Saturday morning at 9 a.m. We'll be back again to talk about our next career combo conversation. I think Saturday's conversation is, we did the first one, make an investment. We did, now I'm drawing a blank. That's terrible. But if you come, it's going to be good. So look for it on the Free2Prayz page. It'll be there to know what session we're talking about Saturday. Once again, thank you for being here tonight. I hope that you all have a great rest of your evening. And take care until the next time. All right. Good night.